Hello, 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 hello. How is it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone's doing fantastically well, especially after yesterday where Arsenal just, not gonna lie, kind of with ease. Made it 2-0 in the first half and just breezed past PSG. And not gonna lie, all over the timeline before the game on Twitter and other places I could read that PSG is gonna smash Arsenal. They're gonna expose that defense. It's gonna be 4-3-0 at halftime. And it was. It legit almost was 3-4-0 at halftime. Just not for PSG. For Arsenal. And that was fan-freaking-tastic. So, today on the cards, we're gonna review the game. We have Arteta's interview. We have player ratings. We have other bits and bobs to talk about. We're gonna discuss a bit more in depth and maybe some tweaks here or there, of course, as well. So if you're new around here, don't forget to smash thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to join the content. If you're new, don't forget also to get interactive in the chat. And if you're watching this as a playback, don't forget to leave a comment as well down below, of course. But we are kicking things off with, of course, with the fact that Arsenal yesterday beat PSG 2-0. And this guy, 29, aka Kai Havertz, Donkey Kai, not so donkey anymore, this time he's already King Kai Havertz, one player of the man of the match. Why is it player of the match? I don't know, but for me, it's always gonna be man of the match. To be honest, overall, quite great game. First half at least, second half not so much. We pretty much dominated the whole half. Arteta set up in a completely different formation, completely different tactics in a way, and that legitimately felt like threw off PSG of their game. Our high press genuinely just instantly shut them down. Every single time they tried to get out of the press, when they put the balls wide, our wingbacks in Timber and Calafiori obviously instantly picked them off on it, and even if they got to the ball, the tackle was there. If they just played it long, instantly our defenders picked it all off and just we got the ball back. So PSG more or less didn't have any answers for us. And let's be real, we scored the first goal. Beautiful pass by Trossard. Beautiful header by Kai Havertz. 1-0. Donnarumma, no idea what he's doing there. Later on in the first half, Saka scores a direct free kick, which we haven't seen for about 2-3 years since Odegaard did it already that time. It's 2-0 at half time, and it's pretty much safe and sound. Second half, it was pretty much Arsenal just sat back. It legitimately felt like Arsenal knew they have this game in the bag, and they will just see the game out. Whatever happens, they're gonna sit back, kind of invited the pressure, which I'm, to be honest, not a big fan of. I'm not gonna lie. I much more would have preferred if Arsenal scored the third and then just genuinely just killed the game and it was done and dusted. But Arsenal basically sat back and saw what is what. They saw the game out. Obviously, PSG could have gotten a penalty potentially. They hit the post and everything, but ultimately it never led to anything, and Arsenal absolutely demolished them in a way, especially in the first half. Second half was more or less more PSG. We didn't even attack more or less in the second half. It was like we gave them all the ball, all the possession, everything, and then said, come at us, let's see what you can do. And PSG pretty much did nothing. They did nothing, and let's be real, we went 2-0 up, and I'm not gonna lie, I was never worried that we might lose this game. Not a single second in this game was in a case that we might lose this game. Never had a one nerve doubting ourselves. And it's very weird for me as an Arsenal fan, because if you have gone through defensive backlines like David Luiz, Squillaci, Johan Juru, Mustafi and stuff like Lichtsteiners and all them players, trust me, you have a bit of a PTSD still from those days. So overall, Arsenal, very dominant performance, very good. Havertz won man of the match and everything. We're gonna get into player ratings in a split second, but what we're gonna do first in these things, we're gonna of course talk about the Gaffer and his post-match press conference after we won against PSG 2-0, where he spoke about certain instances, certain situations, and of course he kind of enlightened us on the issue with Jurriën Timber, because obviously he got subbed off at halftime, and there were lots of speculations about potential injury worries and everything, so he shed some light on that as well. So we're definitely gonna dive straight into all those things. Big up, coach, in the chat. Big up. Hope you're well. I'm fantastic. Hope you're doing fantastically as well after yesterday and everything. Remember when I said our defense will win us titles? To be honest, our defense is solid. Our defense is doing very, very good. Very good. I'm very happy the way we play defensively. We don't let most of the teams even get a sniff in a way for our net. It's another clean sheet in David Raya for David Raya and everything. For me, the only drawback is in all these instances is the fact that all these what if scenarios which could potentially happen, that could not happen, who knows. Mostly it's all about our center back partnership, because arguably this center back partnership is the best center back partnership in Europe at the moment, maybe in the world even, you would say. And what would happen if one of them get injured? So I'm knocking on wood and hoping none of them get injured, because we don't know what's gonna happen with that, because we had that before when Saliba got injured and our season fell apart. So that is my only drawback in this, because the only players who can play there more or less are injured as well, or if they can slot in that center back spot, then we don't have we have wing back issues. So we have to wait and see what's going to happen with that. Hopefully we don't get injured whatsoever. But our defense is rock solid at the moment. The one thing you kind of can depend upon, even if at the moment at least, even if we cannot score and create, is the fact that our defense is going to do the job. Our defense is going to keep us in the game, so we get that one set piece, that one situation, that one chance to score. And if we manage to take the best advantage of it, our defense would hold up. Because generally it's something similar like under George Graham, if you recall. If you are that type of a fan and everything, that remember those days when Arsenal won 1-0, 2-1, 2-0, like the song 1-0 to the Arsenal and everything. Our defense held up, we took one of our chances, and then we just saw the game out. And that's what we are doing very, very, very many times this year. And that is, as good as it is, it's also a bit worrying, because sometimes it can play a cruel trick on us. For me, the biggest question is, let's just say we are 2-0 up, and we concede, let's just say 1 goal, if not 2 even, and then will the team be able to switch from that cruise control mode straight into 5th, 6th gear and run rampant on the other team? Because that for me is still the biggest question. It's all fun and games when you do this against a team like Leicester, right? But when you have this instance, for example, against Liverpool, in Champions League against Inter Milan, for example, you're 2-0 up, all of a sudden it's 2-2. Can the team switch that mentality instantly from like seeing out the game or just focusing on defense more, and then just pushing ahead, getting that third goal and winning the game? That for me is one of the biggest questions that are still left to be answered. Because that is the biggest question for me at the moment. Because you never know what's going to happen. Champions League format, cup formats are 1-off games, 2-off games, and in those games anything can happen. I'm very happy how we played yesterday, to be honest. How we saw out the game. Obviously second half was quite dead, I'm not gonna lie in a way. But overall, we got the job done. And also, it's all great when we do this at home. The big question is, can we do this away? Because at home, we have somewhat decent record in Europe. At home, somewhat decent, right? Away record for Mikel Arteta is the one that's the biggest worry. Because when we play away, we tend to buckle under the pressure, and we need to break that streak, and we somehow need to grow. And that is for me also the biggest question, because you can beat Sevilla, you can do these things, but remember, we went away to Porto, we all saw how that happened. We went away to Bayern Munich, we all saw how that happened. Against Atalanta as well, it wasn't great. So the biggest question is, what we gonna do when we go to Lisbon Sporting again away, like we did 2 years ago? What we gonna do when we go to San Siro against Inter Milan away? When we go to these big teams with European pedigrees and everything away, will we be able to steal a win in a way? To steal goals, get a win, get points on the board? That for me is still the biggest question that still needs to be answered, in my opinion. That for me is the big one. But anyways, let's get straight into the interview. Let's see what Mikel Arteta has said after this game. Obviously, if the question is dumb, we're gonna skip it, let's be real. Waffles is all that stuff. I have eaten my dinner. I'm all happy. I'm all eaten. I don't want to eat too many waffles because obviously too much food is also bad for you. On managing the game after our 2 goals in the first half, especially the way we played the first half and how determined and brave we were, the quality we showed against this kind of opponent and be so dominant, scored 2 goals. Then we wanted that different second half, probably continue to be that dominant and with the ball to be more composed than we were. We had 3 big chances to score the third one, and probably that would have killed the game. Obviously we didn't score. Martinelli had a chance, and arguably if Martinelli scored that chance, it could have been potentially one of the best goals we have scored in a very long time. We could have scored a third easily, and then basically it would have been done and dusted. The 2-0 is one of those leads. Obviously 1-0 lead is good. At the same time it's very bad. But 2-0 lead, in a way, for me, is also one of the arguably the worst leads you can have. Unless you make it 3-0 very quickly, the 2-0 is a bit of that gray area. Because if you concede 1, right, if you're 2-0 up, you kind of think, okay, cool, we have the advantage, we have a cushion just in case we concede. But if you concede, there are 2 things. The other team gets energy boost and gets that emotional lift that they are just 1 goal behind, they have just scored, they maybe can do it again. For the other team, on the other hand, for example, it goes the other way. They don't have that cushion anymore. Every single mistake they make could lead to a goal. And that is, for me, that's why 2-0 for me is one of the worst leads you can arguably have, of course. So that is the big question as well. For us to see out these big games against the big teams, if we are 2-0 up, we need to score the third as soon as possible. Because that 2-0, nothing is still settled and dusted. 3-0, you can kind of maybe start packing your suitcases and go back. But 2-0 is still in that gray area where anything can happen. Credit to them as well, the changes they made, the adaptation they made, they focused us to play again in a different area of the pitch, and we had more problems after, and we continued to play the way we played in the first half. True, on Havertz's performance, Kai Havertz, yes, that was actually quite excellent, I'm not gonna lie. So powerful, but as well so intelligent. The way he occupies the spaces, the way he connects everything together, his work ethic and how he's around the box, and you have the feeling that he's going to score a goal. So he's a space invader, basically. The goal was superb. I think overall the performance was good as for him, so really pleased with that. On Timber came off at halftime, and this is the big one. Why Jurrien Timber came off at halftime? Because, not gonna lie, every single Arsenal fan was a bit worried with the fact that he got subbed off at halftime. Whether it's an injury, whether something came up, or or whatever what is going on. And Mikel Arteta kind of shed the light on this by saying he was unbelievable in the first half, to be honest. Timber in the first half was also very, very phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie, if he was playing the full 90, there would be an argument to be made that he could be potentially man of the match as well, together with Kai Havertz, for me at least. It all remains, obviously, we're gonna talk about player ratings in a bit, but yeah, Timber was excellent in the first half, to be honest. So, he was unbelievable in the first half, but he felt something muscular and he was uncertain, and I didn't want to take any risks, which to be understandable. Luckily, we had 2-0 lead as well. If it was 0-0, it would have been much more of a risk. But being 2-0 up, it kind of gave us that potential chance of actually subbing on, well, Kivior, and that, yeah. But yeah, he's been out for a year. He played a lot of minutes, probably more minutes than we wanted, and obviously with the Ben White injury, it kind of has forced Arteta's hand to do that in this case. So it is a bit of an iffy one, I'm not gonna lie. However, when Ben White comes back, I think he has his job cut out for him. Because Timber, to be honest, at the moment, hasn't shown any glimpses of the fact that he should be dropped when Ben White comes back. It feels like Timber is something different. It's something that we need in our team. He's aggressive. He doesn't shy away. He puts in a tackle. He dispossesses. He's very flexible as well. If you saw how he dispossessed Barcola in our own penalty box with just putting his leg out and everything. So definitely there is something to discuss in that area as well. So it will be very interesting how that goes. But yeah, he's been out, and in last few weeks we have to manage him. Yeah, obviously you have to a bit manage. Coming back from ACL injuries is never easy. There's always that risk of maybe reoccurring injuries, especially the ones that follow the ACL injury in that regard, because other muscles, other ligaments have to overcompensate for that injury that they had. Maybe something's going on there. They have to overcompensate, and you get different types of injuries. So definitely The fact that he got sent off as a precaution is a good move. The question is, will it have some ongoing consequences, or he will be fine and ready for Southampton? And to be honest, if we are playing against Southampton at home especially, if he is not fully like 100%, there's also no need to risk him. Especially if we can maybe rotate the squad a bit in a way that he maybe can sit on the bench for that game. On whether it's too early to look at the Champions League table. Brother, it's been 2 out of 8 games. It's way too early to look at the table. We are at the moment 8th. Today, obviously, the second part of the Champions League games take place. We will drop out from that top 8 that guarantees a place in a round of 16. So it's way too early. On the difference in jeopardy this season in the Champions League, I don't know. We all want to be at the very top and play less games and to have the capacity to have better draws. It's going to be a long journey, I think. It will be, to be honest. The last game in Champions League, what we against Girona away, is like January 28th, January 29th, something like that. So it will be a long one compared to usual ones when it's done before Christmas. When it's done before Christmas and there's the draw and we start the elimination stages in March. So it will be very interesting to see how that goes. On Bukayo Saka's confidence and our chances of success in this campaign. The players feel that we are in the right direction and they believe in what we do. It's a great sign. It's a night to be really happy because we played on one of the best teams in the world to be able to perform and win in the way we did. It's really good sign. Obviously, it's a very good sign. You managed to shut them out. You managed to pretty much dominate them. And they didn't pretty much get a chance to score a goal besides that post they hit. So it was a great performance. Obviously, yesterday as well, Mikel Merino debuted. Let's be real, first 25 minutes didn't look the best, but hey ho, just come back from injury and everything, hasn't played for Arsenal whatsoever, has had genuinely handful of training sessions with the team, so that is as well, he hasn't adjusted to tactics, to situations, the philosophy, how Arteta wants to play fully, so definitely it's gonna take some time here. The big one is that when I was looking at these injury reports on players before the PSG game, it was 2 days ago actually, most of them were saying that the Mikel Merino's comeback date, will be after international break. The fact that he played already is a very good sign because let's be real, he's not going to go with Spain onto international break, which means also that at the end of this, that he will be with the team and he'll be ready to train with the team during the international break, which is obviously a very good thing for him. On what do we know over a team like PSG can do for the squad, raises confidence and belief, yeah. Calafiori's role in the team today. Calafiori, to be honest, yesterday was playing all over the pitch. Like, he's one of those players that basically, when he inverts, obviously, but when you see, and he was playing right back the second half, but when you see him play, he was playing right wing, number 8, number 6, number 10, then at some point he was at right wing and obviously right back. The biggest issue with Calafiori is he isn't as fast as it was led for us to believe he is. That for me is a big issue, that he was like few yards ahead of the attacker and he got outpaced to the ball. And the biggest worry with Calafiori at the moment is obviously he's still young and still needs to learn. But it's the fact that when he goes forward, he leaves massive gaps. And obviously with inverting, pushing so far ahead, it makes a lot of sense that the gaps are there. The thing is, he doesn't manage to recover at times. And sometimes when he defends, when he has to recover back, he loses his man. And that's how Justin scored that goal again for Leicester and everything. Brilliant goal, by the way. So it definitely is one of the biggest worries for me with Calafiori. He pushes ahead a lot, which is great. But the fact that the defensive part of his game, the fact about the gaps and everything, is a bit of a worry. I'm not gonna lie, it is a bit of a worry for me at the moment. Yo, big up BX Gunner in the chat. Big up. He's a great defender. It's 50-50 still. He has the presence and the energy, so he has the aura and everything, like the hair and headbands and all that stuff. Full commitment, reaction that he does, he's really brave. See, something similar like Timber, to be honest. Just less composed defensively at the moment. But offers more than Timber going forward, which is very interesting, to be honest. Declan Rice performances this season, I'm very happy. To be honest, Declan Rice arguably against PSG, he had you could say one of the best performances this season, because so far this season overall he's been very questionable. He has said it himself. He didn't feel great. He wasn't at full fitness and everything. And I think yesterday against PSG, arguably he had one of the best, if not the best performance he has had this season. Similarly, Thomas Partey, arguably the best performance he has had this year. Thomas Partey had yesterday. On what difference he notes in this team from last season to this season, I sensed team differently yesterday as well. When we were preparing the game and how they wanted the level of focus, I think they wanted to prove a point tonight against a top team at home. And that is a big case, to be honest. Beating a big team at home is great. The thing is, can we do this away? Because at home it's a one story, but going away to San Siro and wherever and win there, that would be a whole different statement we could put out and put the rest of the European teams on notice that we are here and we are ready in a way to take it over. Because the way we played against PSG, the way we played with 10 men against Man City and everything, in a way, has shown that we are ready to win something. And I think this season we actually can win something, a trophy this season. Only though if we manage to stay fit and we do the proper rotations. Because if we over-rotate, we are screwed. And if we get injured in certain areas, we are screwed. So the big thing is we can win this season something. We definitely can win a trophy this season. The biggest question is, can we live up to that potential? Because there's definitely potential to do it this season. The way we play defensively especially and everything, the composure, the maturity of the team that, I don't want to say the word aura, but radiates from the team at the moment. It just screams of the fact that they are ready to win and they believe they can win, and I can see them winning something this season. I know I'm sounding like a top gunner and everything, but until it happens, I'm not saying anything else. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to get it. I don't want to say anything more, but I want Arsenal to win something this season. And the way we're playing at the moment, if we can sustain this level and even improve on top of that, there most likely will be a trophy, a title, something at the end of the season for us, 100%. On building belief, beating big clubs, obviously you beat them step by step and all that. On whether he was impressed with the level of control the team displayed, I did. The result as well at halftime was similar to a few days ago, and then what happened and managing the emotionally and staying in the game the way we had to do. I was really impressed and happy with that, even though we were still, especially in the second half, things that we can do much better. Obviously, there's always room for improvement. If you think there's no room for improvement, you have lost already, because you have to improve. You have to improve and grow day by day, game by game, performance after performance. And sometimes, let's be real, from a win, you can learn much more than from a defeat. Because after defeats, everyone learns. After win, people tend to neglect certain aspects just because they won. And for me, sometimes, after a win, you can learn much more than after a defeat. And that is something from my own experience when I was playing, 100%. Anyways, if we look at certain things, obviously Merino debuted yesterday. Good for him. These were Timber's stats yesterday after he got subbed off at halftime. Halftime stats: 100% dribbles completed, 100% tackles won, and 100% ground duels won. He had Barcola on lock. He couldn't get past him. He completely shut him down, and Timber was fantastic yesterday. Like, I know we used the Wenger meme like, ooh, it's like a new signing and everything, right? When Welbeck came back from injury as a meme here. But at the same time, Timber is like a new signing. He played about 50 odd minutes last season before he torn his ACL. Now he's back and we fully see what Timber is all about, finally. And this season, so far, he has been phenomenal, I'm not gonna lie. He actually did very well yesterday, excellently yesterday to be honest. And if he can stay fit, and if he can do this game in, game out, and even again improve on that, oh boy. Because I strongly believe if Timber didn't get injured last season, we would have won the title. Because the way he was playing already in the beginning of the season, in Community Shield and everything, he was fantastic, let's be real. And he arguably was also our player of the preseason last season. When we just signed him, he had full preseason, and he was the best performer in that preseason as well. So he was in a very good form and shape at the time. So that injury legitimately came at the worst time possible. And I think if he had stayed fit throughout the whole season, I genuinely believe last year we would have won a title. Genuinely believe so. And you cannot convince me otherwise. Because there's a big difference when you play Timba or when you play Kivior or Zinchenko at left back. Massive difference. Massive difference. Kai Havertz, yesterday, he won the man of the match. Arsenal tweeted it out yesterday. 48 touches, 1 goal, 2 shots, 2 on target, 0.3 xg, and he scored of that. 1 key pass, 21 out of 31 accurate passes, 0.17 expected assists, blah blah blah. 10 out of 18 duels won, which is fantastic. 3 tackles, and SofaScore rating of 8.1. Obviously, we're gonna do player ratings in a split second, so stay tuned for that, of course. And Luis Enrique also has spoken on Arsenal. He obviously also had a post-match interview, and he said, we couldn't compete at the level they did, and they deserved to win the match. And obviously, Luis Enrique spoke about the team, and he said quite a bit of very uplifting things in terms of praising us. Let's just say that. Bukayo Saka winning Premier League title. I don't want to put too much pressure on us. Dude, you know how much... You don't want to put too much pressure on you, yeah? But you 2 seasons in a row have finished second and few points only behind City. You have taken City to the max and you're gonna try and do this again and finally win it. You cannot put more pressure than there is on you already. You are arguably the number 2 seed. If you watch NBA, you basically are number 2 seed in the tournament at the moment, behind Man City. In Champions League, you most likely, I would say, on paper only, we are, I would say, top 4, top 5 seed. Based on experience, I would say we are top 10 seed in lottery pick in a way as well, something like that. The experience, let's see if it shows in Champions League. Now, this is the big thing, what Luis Enrique said about Arsenal, and he said quite a bit and very, very praising Arsenal after yesterday's game. Let's be real, Luis Enrique has won a lot, and that is the big thing, and that is something massive coming for him to talk about Arteta and Arsenal like that. He said that we're superior to PSG. With Arsenal, we're much better in terms of intensity, in terms of pressure, and they won every duel. Effectively, after the second goal Arsenal scored, they decided to defend a bit more deeply, take a few less risks, and Arsenal deserved their victory. Like, we are 2-0 up. Obviously, I would have loved to score the third goal and instantly put the game to bed, which for me is arguably one of the things Arsenal should be doing more. Scoring 2, 3 or 4 quick goals in this fashion as we do, like push it. Obviously thinking about defense, but in the same style like we did yesterday. Score the third, maybe fourth, and put the game to bed. Then you can relax, sub in certain players, and focus already on the game that is following the game after the current one. The thing is, with 2-0 leads, it could be slippy. We saw that against Leicester. We were 2-0 up, it was 2-2, and then we had to push ourselves heavily to make it 4-2, obviously. The thing is, though, against bigger teams, I'm not sure that would work. Because I'm not sure if Arsenal, let's just say, are 2-0 up against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich make it 2-2. Can we score? Can we switch from that containment, cruise control type of defensive mindset straight into 5th gear, 6th gear, and just, again, go ahead and try and score again? That is still the question that is left, one of the biggest questions that have been left to be answered for me with this Arsenal team. Are we ready to mentally switch from maybe defense into offense consistently all the time? Really, it's impossible to come out of a game with a positive result if you don't manage to win any duel on the pitch. And to be honest, it was all the time like that. Arteta set up 4-4-2 formation, which I think totally put spanner in works in Luis Enrique's plans. Because Arteta is very pragmatic. Everyone expected 4-3-3. Everyone expected like 4-2-3-1 type of scenario, but he put out 4-4-2. Obviously, mid-game, he changed to 3 at the back, like 3-5-2, 3-4-3, and stuff like that. But at the same time, we defended in 4-4-2, and it completely shut everyone off. As we were pressing them, as soon as they tried to put ball to the wings, Calafiori and Timber were on the wingers, on PSG wingers. instantly, and they tackle them, shut them down. If they try to put a long ball to their wingers or attackers, instantly Gabriel Saliba just reads the pass, reads the ball, gets the possession instantly back. We completely nullified their attack in the first half, and we took the best advantage of it possible, and I absolutely loved it. We won none of our duels. Their defenders completely anticipated our attackers, and our defenders failed to anticipate their attackers. From the first minute, Arsenal were superior to us in the game. And that is something I wanted to talk about. PSG defenders failed to anticipate our attackers. For me, that was very evident in set piece situations. Yes, we get like bantery called set piece FC, but we had multiple set pieces. How Jover thinks of them, by the way, I have no idea, but they work. So keep at it, bro. Huge round of applause to Jover. He needs a raise, definitely. But overall, if you think about it, there were certain set pieces where Arsenal basically put four men in offside situation. PSG are standing looking at the offside guys and think, okay, cool, we got this covered. While they're thinking that, meanwhile, I think it was Trossard, runs in behind the defenders to the far corner, and the ball gets instantly crossed. There's no offside. And if Trossard gets a proper touch and can pass it properly, there are four guys in the middle of the box already waiting for an empty net tap-in, while defenders are just recovering. Like, how Jover thinks of these instances is actually wild. Same goes for Saka's goal. Usually we have the first man in set pieces in Premier League, you have the opposing player. Opponent's team's player, one of them, right? Against PSG, it was our player who was the first. So Saka did that. He just crossed the ball that basically went into the goal, and two of our players just run past the ball, just flick their legs as if they're trying to change direction of it, and it just went in. Donnarumma totally was unprepared for that scenario where we just try and basically we faked him out. Like, we did a pump fake. You know, if you watch, again, NBA comparisons, but if you watch NBA, like, pump fake, you get defender in the air and then you just run past him. Arsenal basically Partey did that with his leg, and I think it was Trossard who did that. They both just went past the ball and they basically did the pump fake, and Donnarumma was just, and the ball is in the back of the net. So that was phenomenal, to be honest. What Jover does on those set pieces is genuinely remarkable. This is a big one, by the way. Front page of the UK newspapers this morning after Arsenal's 2-0 win over PSG. Sacre bleu. That's a good one. It's pretty much there, but that's a good one. This is the one that really bothered me, by the way. Bukayo Saka. Us forward players want to run forward, but the manager emphasizes a lot of other parts of the game. And that for me is the biggest bother, mostly because of the defending. Arsenal are a team that attacks with quite a bit of players and defends almost with the whole team, pretty much the whole team. And it also emphasizes the fact that our wingers come back to defense to cover our wingbacks. You would think that having 4 defenders, goalkeeper, and double pivot at time, most of the time when defending, would be enough. But no, we do that. And this is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this. Because going forward, as Saka says, we want to run forward. And we used to do that 2 seasons ago when we played expensive football. I saw that yesterday as well. We defended their cross. Ball goes to Martinelli. Martinelli gets the ball and starts to genuinely sprint down the left-hand side. I think he was trying to be covered by Lee Kangin at the time. He was sprinting almost next to him, right? And at that situation, if it was Arsenal 2 years ago, Martinelli would try to take on, just go down the byline straight forward, try to dribble past him and take a shot or cross it or whatever. But now, he just stopped near center and just passed it backwards. And sometimes for me, as it kind of plays how Arteta wants to, with total control, not taking any risks and being safe. At the same time, it kind of detriments the fact that we are going on a counter-attack and we actually could score a goal. Because if we stop dead in our tracks going on a counter, it gives time for the other team to recover, put their man in the place, and start to focus on defense. And sometimes having that mayhem when a speedster like Martinelli gets the ball and just tries to sprint causes mayhem, especially if he gets past that first man. So at times, it's sometimes the best thing you can do is actually just push forward. because the fact that our wingers also have to defend, it's great because it helps us defensively, and that's why we have arguably the best defense in the league. At the same time, it takes away stamina, energy from going forward, and on top of that, it's an extra burden in a way that runs our players into the ground. And that is also one of the reasons I think some of our players get injured because they have to do too much on the pitch. Obviously, Arteta wants that every single player does everything almost on the pitch. At the same time, sometimes simplicity is the best policy. Not overcomplicating things. Not pushing our wingers back, but letting them just go out on attack. Obviously, when it's needed to defend, go defend, but not do it consistently. And that's why our players, many times you can see, are cramping up, are running to the ground. They barely can walk off when they get substituted and stuff like that. And that is something that is bothering me a bit. I'm not gonna lie. This was brilliant. Borussia Dortmund fans with a huge tifo. I know it's not Arsenal related, but I wanted to talk about this. Arsenal fans with huge tifo saying UEFA Mafia. And at the bottom, right? At the bottom down there, right? It says you don't care about the sport. All you care about is the money. And that is spot on. Genuinely, that is fully spot on. Given the amount of games they are pushing in, soon the players will be playing around 70 to 80 games a season. Imagine that. Football players' career already is as short as it is. If you're lucky, you get good in professional level 15 to maybe, if you're optimistic, to 20 years out of it. And now imagine if you throughout all those years, you play around 70 games a season. If you're one of the best players, you have to play about 70 to 80 games a season. That accumulates together to more than 1,200 games in your career. And that could not be good long term, because that will increase the amount of injuries, the severity of injuries, and the player issues in general. Mental issues, I'm not just talking about mental, but physical issues and overall. But yeah, I guess it is what it is. And now it's time, I think we're gonna go into player ratings. So if you wanna do this with me, get live in the chat, comment with me. Player ratings. What ratings you would give to our players for yesterday's performance? So we're gonna kick things off with David Raya. First things first, David Raya did his job, made some good saves. Hit the post, but that doesn't count short of targets on target, so it is what it is. Had a great long ball in early first half where Martinelli nearly got to the ball. If he could have gone to the ball, he was already in behind defenders' backs and would have scored most likely. Well, knowing it's Martinelli, hopefully. But overall, yeah, Raya, I'm giving an 8. Solid job, clean sheet, made good saves when I had to, totally commanded the box, no slip-ups, no nothing bad. Urian Timber. Moving on, right back. Urian Timber. For Urian Timber, even though he played only one half, he was phenomenal in that half. I'm not gonna lie. The tackling, pushing forward, passing, distributing the ball. I am giving Urian Timber an 8. I know it says 7 here, but for that one half, I'm giving him an 8. He was sublime. The way he shut down Barcola fully, the way he eased the pressure, the way he was going and pushing forward, helping Saka. And imagine that. We are at the moment sitting here talking about Timber, how good he is, and we have more or less pretty much forgotten that Ben White is injured and he's not here. Because there was a time when Ben White was out and we were just thinking, oh, what are we gonna do now? Because then we have to play either Tomiyasu there or something like that. We are totally out of it. We have players to replace certain players. How amazing is that? I'm not gonna lie, how fantastic is that? Saliba, I'm giving Saliba an 8 as well. Solid performance, solid defensive work, good tackles sometimes, most of the time. Had some iffy moments, I think 1 or 2 overall, nothing special, but he did his job. Clean sheet, shut the attackers down. I'm gonna give Saliba actually an 8.5. Out of 10, I'm gonna give Saliba an 8.5. Gabriel gets an 8.5 as well for me. Phenomenal performance. That partnership is the best one in Europe, let's be real. Best center-back partnership in Europe. And if they can win and cement their legacy at Arsenal, if they can win Premier League, Champions League, that would be the holy grail for them. Genuinely, that would be the holy grail. And on top of that, that would be the holy grail for Arsenal. because that means we would have extra advantage if Real Madrid, PSG would decide to come for them. Because PSG already are looking at Gabriel and Saliba as well. There were rumors that PSG could be preparing 120 million bid for Saliba next summer. There are already rumors starting on that, and based on yesterday's performance, I wouldn't be surprised if they are. Genuinely, I wouldn't be surprised in given how Saliba performs this season. Same goes for Gabriel and Real Madrid and everything. Calafiori, I'm gonna give him... For me, Calafiori actually was worse of the starting four in defenders. Yes, he was doing a good job going forward. Defensively, he sometimes feels like a headless chicken. It's still, I know he's learning and everything still on the job. But Calafiori, I'm gonna give him a 7. There's a lot of room to grow for him in my opinion still in this Arsenal team. Going forward, he is fantastic, I'm not gonna lie. He pushes ahead a lot. He plays with a lot of passion, a lot of energy and everything. But defensively, there are still issues that are kind of glaring when he leaves his space. He sometimes gets shoved off the ball too easily. He sometimes loses his man defensively. There are these instances which are still he needs to work on, so that's why I'm gonna give him the 7.5. Let's give Calafiori 7.5. Moving on to midfield, Thomas Partey. I would say best performance Thomas Partey has had this season. Arguably in this year, potentially even. On top of my head, I cannot remember the performances he has had better than yesterday's one. Completely controlled the game. Was unplayable in a way in the midfield. Completely shut their midfield down and everything. So what I'm gonna give Thomas Partey an 8. I'm gonna give Thomas Partey 8. Fully deserved 8. Fantastic performance. Great job in passing, retaining possession and everything. So I'm giving him an 8. Declan Rice. I'm gonna give him 7.5. Mostly because I know he has admitted that he wasn't the best of fitness during the last international break. He's getting up to it. Arguably the best performance as well this season, specifically for Declan Rice, arguably, or one of the best. So I'm gonna give him 7.5. For the casual Declan Rice performance, we are kind of expected what he did last year until that Bayern game when he kind of fell off a bit. He was playing on consistent 7.5 to 8.5, if not 9 even. So for me, the usual Declan Rice performances, so we have a sample sheet to kind of compare it against. He's getting there, but he's not there yet, and he still can do better. So I'm gonna give him 7.5 in that instance. Gabriel Martinelli. And this is a very interesting one. I'm gonna give Gabriel Martinelli for yesterday's performance. And this will be very, very, in a way, controversial. I'm gonna give him a 6. I know he was running, he was defending and everything. He was trying, he was doing everything he could. But I'm gonna give Martinelli a 6. He had 2 brilliant chances to score. Put it legitimately. 2 or 3 yards left or right from the keeper, it's a certain goal. Especially that in the second half when that passing from Arsenal was phenomenal. He just shot it straight at the keeper. He has lost some sort of confidence in him. I know he scored and persisted against Leicester, but again, you need those things to build up the confidence, but again, it is Leicester. So for me, I'm gonna give him a 6, just because I'm not gonna lie, I'm on the edge with him at the moment. I'm totally starting to lose full-on confidence in him. I know I'm believing in him that he can still turn around. He has still a season to do so, but the time is in a way running out for him. For me, the time is running out. And now we're gonna move into attack. And this is the big one, because Trossard had the best performance he has had this season. He was phenomenal, and just imagine this. How wild is that? The way Trossard played yesterday, we are not even mentioning the fact that we are missing Martin Odegaard. That's how he has adapted to this situation. We bought him in as a backup for Martinelli at the time, because we didn't get Mudryk, and luckily we didn't get Mudryk because this Trossard was kind of a steal and a half for Arsenal per se. And the way he's playing, how he's dropping into these pockets, distributing the ball, getting the ball, he wasn't Stella Art Trossard or whatever yesterday. He was the man yesterday, generally the man. So I'm gonna give Trossard an 8.5 for yesterday's performance. Fantastic cut-in, fantastic assist for Havertz's header. So he had fantastic performance. Moving on to King Kai, and after yesterday's performance, I can for yesterday at least definitely, King Kai fully deserved for that title. No Donkey Kai, no Donkey Kong, no nothing like that. Yesterday he was King Kai Havertz. He's getting a 9 for me. The way he played, the way he scored, the way he basically did everything he had to do and more to get the job done, to help the team and everything, the movements, the runs into spaces, the ball distribution. It kind of I know it has been a one season already. He has played quite a bit of games for Arsenal, but it feels like this is the season where he is starting to see how he needs to play, and he's starting to understand it as well. And he has fully embraced the way he has to play to a level where he actually is now scoring and contributing to scoring one way or the other every single game pretty much. He has scored 6 home games in a row, if I'm not mistaken, as well. He is 1 goal away to equal Thierry Henry's goal-scoring home record. He scored in 7 games in a row at home, if I'm not mistaken. And as weird as it sounds, Kai Havertz, if he scores against Southampton, if he plays obviously, he will equal that record. As wild as it sounds, King Thierry Henry. And now we're talking about Kai Havertz, King Kai. Genuinely, King Kai, he was yesterday that King Kai. I'm giving him a 9. For me, he was man of the match. Phenomenal performance. And if you not give it to Havertz, the second one is Trossard. One of the two are man of the matches for me. For me, it's Havertz. For some others, it most likely is Trossard. Phenomenal performance yesterday. Phenomenal the way he was playing. Big up Nathan in the chat. Big up, big up, big up. I'm doing fantastic after yesterday's 2-0 win. Just phenomenal against PSG. Especially how PSG fans were saying that they're gonna destroy us. It will be 3-0 by halftime and everything. Arsenal are still unbeaten. Yep. Arsenal have lost only 1 game this year, haven't they? The one against Aston Villa, which ironically, I'm not gonna say it cost us the title, but it was the last nail in the coffin for us to lose the title. But yeah, we have only lost against Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, haven't we, this year? In Premier League and in a way, haven't we? I'm not counting Champions League, I'm counting Premier League. In Champions League, we have lost against Bayern and against Porto. So overall, we have lost 3 games in all competitions this year. Right? Or is it Cups as well? No, it's Cups as well. Let's talk about Premier League. That is better. We have lost only 1 game. As weird as it sounds, in a way. Haaland and Havertz have the same non-penalty GA in the Prem this calendar year. That is kind of wild, I'm not gonna lie. The thing is, though, Haaland is Haaland. Let's be real. Haaland can continue this for as long as he wants, pretty much. It also depends what players are around him. If KDB is not too long injured, I think the fact that it feels like Haaland needs KDB to score at times. It feels that way when you watch City, Grealish, Foden. They're trying to get ball to Haaland, but they cannot make him score at times. Yes, if he gets running behind and everything, he's kind of Gucci, it's almost a guaranteed goal. But when they get KDB with Haaland together, it's pretty much a guarantee that at some point KDB will create at least 2-3 chances for Haaland. It's a guarantee, pretty much. That is the big thing. The question is, how long Kai Havertz will continue this? Because last season he finished in a very good goal-scoring form. He scored quite a bit in the second part of the season because he was playing quite a bit in the midfield. He played half the season in midfield last year. But Havertz finished in a good goal-scoring form last season. And it feels like he's continuing this season. And he has improved. And I think, as I said before, he finally has found his place in the team. The way he has to play, the way he has to make runs, the way he has to hold the possession. And he has found the best energy between the teammates to get the best out of himself. Because if Havertz plays like he did yesterday, every single game, nobody will complain. The thing is, though, we all know in the back of our minds that at some point, the donkey Havertz will come out. He will have 6 chances, he will miss maybe some chances, and it could come at the most crucial situations. That for me is the big worry, that he's not consistent enough. And to be honest, I'm still gonna say this, Havertz could score until January 15 goals, let's just say 15 goals, right? And I would still sign Gyökeres. Because for me, if there was a chance obviously, because for me, the biggest thing is that we need high-end competition for spots. We cannot have a player who is excellent in that position and he has no one pushing him from behind. Like Saka, for example. We need in every single position a player that pretty much breathes on other players' neck and says, if you screw up and Mikel Arteta is up for it, I'm taking your spot. Let's see what happens. We need that competition. To be fair to Havertz, since he's played as a striker, the form continued even... Exactly. Since this year started, 2024, he has been I can't say fantastic, but he's been quite great. Goals, assists, he has been quite great at striker. Genuinely. Big up in the chat. Big up, keep the good work. Is this year must win the Premier League? If not, when... Yeah, this year for Mikel Arteta is a must win. It is a must win. And as much as I want to think about this, and I can, if we keep this performance level up and we go even a gear or two higher, I can see us winning, for example, Carabao Cup or FA Cup, right? And if we avoid injuries, obviously. The thing is, though, the way this is going, it's not enough, if you get what I mean. For the amount of time, for the 5 years, because by the end of this season, Arteta will be at the job for 5.5 years. The amount of money spent and everything, it has to be the league or Champions League, one of the two. It has to be one of them. We have to see the big armpits at the end of the season lifting one of the big trophies. It just has to be. Because for me at the moment, yes, it's cool. We're going to win Carabao Cup or FA Cup, for example, right? It's fantastic. It's great. Everyone's happy. However, it's not enough. It would feel a bit underwhelming in a way, if you get what I mean. It's a must win. Because for me, if not now, then when? For me, if not now, then when? Because the biggest thing is, at the moment at the top, there are 2 big teams, Arsenal and Man City, right? Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with the charges Man City are facing and everything that will come out. The verdict will come out, what, February, March, something like that next year, right? Let's not focus on that. Let's forget about all those things. Let's focus on other things. Let's focus on Liverpool. Liverpool need to sign, I think, about 2-3 players, and they will be up there with us. It's not going to take long. For Liverpool, the biggest thing is injuries, and they don't have replacements for most of positions. Kind of like Arsenal, but Arsenal are kind of covered in a way. As much as we are saying that the bench isn't deep enough, we still have players who can do the job, and we can put them in certain positions, and we will maintain our level to quite high extent still, compared to if we put our strongest 11. Liverpool needs some few more signings. God knows what's going to happen with Chelsea, because Maresca, what he's doing at the moment is fantastic. The thing is, though, same thing happened with Spurs last year. They went, after first 10 games, top of the table, they're in the title race, all the Spurs fans are screaming. We all saw what happened afterwards. We don't know when this new Maresca, new manager kind of hype and energy and bounce will end. Because once it ends, it will be very interesting to see what's going to happen. Because for Chelsea, the biggest problem is defense. Chelsea can outscore quite a bit of teams, let's be real. The question is, can they defensively hold up? We don't know when that's going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen with Newcastle, although I think they're going to fall off. Same goes for Villa, because they will have to balance Champions League, Europe, and Champions League, Premier League, Cups and everything. And it could be nuts, but at the moment, there are two big teams at the top. Then there's Liverpool, and then there are about I would say, two, three teams that are they are close to Liverpool. They can get there, but they need to do quite a bit to get up to the highest level. And for Arsenal, the biggest thing in this regard is the fact that we cannot challenge on consistent basis unless we invest and build up the team. Something like at Liverpool. Did they challenge for 3-4 years in a row and then they fell off? And Arsenal at the moment are challenging for the third season. Sooner or later that drop off will happen. And if we haven't won the league by then, other teams that are behind us could overtake us in terms of development and growth. Because the best chance for us to win the league, if you exclude last 2 years, right, was the year when Leicester won it. But then somehow Giroud decided to miss goal, not score for 20 odd games. That's the big thing. 20 odd games he decided not to score. Because the way Giroud was going and the Ozil on how many assists he was and everything, Ozil should be at the moment still the top assister in Premier League for one season, and we should have the Premier League that year. But we are where we are, and I think that year was the year every Arsenal fan said, "Oh, this was our year." If we don't win it this year, it will be another 10 or so years when we get a chance at it again. Fast forward 7-8 years, and only after 7-8 years we are back there only again. If we don't win it now, it could be another 7-8 years. Unless Kroenkes invest every single season to freshen up the team, to keep up the team. Unless they are complacent and arrogant and they only want top 4. So it all depends on the ambition of the owners as well. If Isak is available in the summer, wait for him. For me, personally, I would take Gyökeres over Isak. Because for me, Gyökeres feels like more natural finisher, if that makes sense. He feels more physical, more agile. For me, with Isak is the fact the way Newcastle play. I think Isak fits the way Newcastle play perfectly. For the way we play, Gyökeres in a way fits more better, if that makes sense. At least that's my opinion on it. Because one is Isak most likely will be about 110, 120 million. Gyökeres is still 85. Although there are rumors that the Sporting are trying to negotiate his contract and even more increase his release clauses and stuff like that. Mostly because, let's be real, the way he's putting numbers up this season is the same as last season, if not even better. He's putting up Haaland level numbers at the moment. That is a big thing. Would love a domestic treble and UCL semi at least. To be honest, if we won Premier League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, right, and then we get to semi-finals in Champions League, all is great, to be honest. No, it's not great because we didn't win Champions League. We didn't do the quadruple. But at the same time, we have won the Premier League, which is obviously the main goal anyways. Who knows how long we will challenge and everything. If Chelsea win a major trophy before us, I will be furious. Sad part is, there is a possibility of that. The way Chelsea are playing, the amount of players they have in the squad, and everything, they could easily build a team and still not drop the levels in a way to win Carabao Cup, FA Cup, something like that. However, the defensive levels of Chelsea's team at the moment, they can be gone at. Obviously, I'm sitting here not chatting smart because our defense is great, our attack is decent, we are nearly top of the league and everything. Who knows what's going to happen with that. I don't want any of those FA Cups or Carabao Cups. We need those big trophies. Anything less than this is a big shame. What worries me is we might lose our star players. I mean, who won second, third? That for me is a big worry. I'm not gonna lie. For me, that is a big worry. Now, if we win Carabao Cup or FA Cup in the at the same time this season, for example, when we win Premier League or Champions League, right? In hypothetical scenarios, at the moment at least, if we win something along the way, it is great. Even Guardiola has said he wants to win that Carabao Cup that's played in February, I think the final is, just so they win something and they have that energy lift, that winning mentality lift to go throughout the rest of the season. Because we don't have that. We haven't won anything with this big new squad, shiny squad we have whatsoever. And for me, that is a big worry, as you're saying. We might lose our star players. Who wants to finish second for 3 seasons? It might be 3, it might be even 4 seasons, who knows? For me, this season could also be going 2 ways. Either we will win it or we will drop further away from City. It won't be 2 points, it will be again 5 or 6 points, for example. It could be either or. And at the moment, the fact that still Odegaard is out, we're doing decently, right? But at the same time, if multiple injuries strike us in key areas, we are instantly dusted. We can cope without Odegaard to some extent, but you can see that when we go in attack, there is something missing. That is a big thing. And let's be real, PSG, Real Madrid, all these big teams already are sending scouts to Arsenal games to look at Gabriel, to look at Saliba, and everything. You don't think there is a team that is maybe looking at Saka? Maybe looking at Martinelli? Maybe even at Ben White and players like that? There definitely is. It's just not spoken a lot about because not many teams can afford the level of players that we have. But 100% there is interest from lots of big teams for our clubs. There is still an interest. So that is the big thing. If we don't win anything this season, or at worst, next season, it could be done and dusted curtains. See you later, alligator, in this level. Because at some point, the penny has to drop. Either the players will leave, or the manager will get sacked, or someone has to come in. Because it will be either or. One of the two. Because if both things happen, we will be back to square one. And it will be a long journey back. That is also a big worry. Because replacing player like Saliba is nearly impossible at the moment. Same goes with Gabriel, also nearly impossible. That is also a big worry at the moment. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. At the end of the day, we will have to wait and see how our season pans out. Hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully we win Premier League. We win maybe Champions League. We win something. We win trophies this season. 2-3 trophies. It would be great. Not gonna lie. Winning a treble this season would be fantastic. Let's be real. Domestic treble. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League. Fantastic. Wouldn't it be great? But yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. But yeah, as I said, I'm gonna end it here. If you enjoyed this, smash thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell. Everything. If you're watching this on a playback, don't forget to leave a comment. Big up Nathan in the chat. Big up BX Gunner in the chat. Big up big up Coach in the chat. Big up Burr in the chat and everyone else. You have been freaking fantastic. Take care, stay safe. Enjoy the football today. Still Champions League games going on. And yeah, on to the weekend. We play Southampton. See what happens then. But until tomorrow, until next stream, take care.